Hiya Joe. This Hey Joe intro is a great riff, great tune to learn. You know, we've been working on the E minor pentatonic. So if you take a look at the open E minor pentatonic, with the extension, that's what the intro for Hey Joe uses. I'm not 100% on what key it's in. There's a few different ways to approach it. For the intro, it uses E minor pentatonic. Then the rhythm, the progression is a circle of fifths, starting on C, C, G, D, A, E. And when it gets to E, it holds on that for 2 bars, where you can do E major pentatonic riffs or E minor riffs. In the actual song itself, the solo is in E minor. So there's a lot of cool ways to approach this song. You know, like Jimmy did with all his songs, he never played the same thing twice. So there's a lot of room for expression. And because it uses, you know, these major chords, you can really go to work on the major pentatonic for each of the chords, which is what we'll touch on as well today. But let's look at that intro to begin with. So starting in so imagine the open E minor pentatonic. So it's like I said, it's good when you're learning the open E minor pentatonic. It's good to start learning some recognizable riffs that use it, you know, put it into context. So we've got this root here on the 5th fret of the B. That's in our E minor pentatonic extension. So that's where we start the riff. We slide into that from the 3rd fret on the B, and we slide into the 5th. But we also get the open high E string as well. And then we drop back with our first finger. So you use the same fingers as when you play when you practice the E minor pentatonic. So you've got 1st and 3rd fingers here on the dots on the B string, the 3rd and 5th fret. So we're going to slide in from the 3rd to the 5th, but also getting that high open E. You can also start with your first finger on the 3rd fret and hammer into the 5th, and then play it on the 3rd string, 3rd fret. So sliding first, and then our first finger, which is naturally on the 3rd fret, we play the 3rd fret of the B and the open high E again. And then we need... So let's split this up into 3 or 4 different licks. The first one being... So then the next part, middle finger here, is like when we practice the scale, it grabs the 4th fret of the G. The same as when we practice it and we slide in. We're going to use this to slide out into our second part of the riff. We're going to grab it on the 4th fret, G, slide to the 2nd, then play the open G, and then play the 2nd fret on the D. And that's an E note. So you start going into an E, and then that 2nd fret of the D is also your root. So there's one part of the riff. There's part 2. And then what we do, grab our first finger, not grab the first finger, take your first finger, and it's the 1st fret of the G, which is your major 3rd. So you kind of built this E major chord now. So the last part of the riff, we're going to grab the low E with this chord grabbed here, like this. We're going to get the low E, then the D, and then the G, B, and high E. We're going to strum. So that you can break that down into 3 parts, and that's a good way to approach it if you're a beginner and you're learning this tune. So part one, learn that, get it nice and neat. Part two, there's part two, you slide with the middle finger. And then part three, you're basically just playing that E major chord. That's it when you put it all together. Break it up. If any bits of it are a little bit shaky, just break it up into 3 separate riffs, practice them individually, then start putting them together and it'll come together nicely. Then we need that's the next bit. So what have we got there? So if you look at this E major chord, take our first finger off, these 2 fingers, we're just moving that shape around. So it's like the back of an E major. So we start from the, then we're going to get the low E. That's going to give us a chance to get this over to the 4th fret, the back of this E. And we're going to play the A and the D strings and slide up to the 5th. Then the low E again, back to the 4th, and then back to the 2nd fret, which is where our E is, and then grabbed an open string there by mistake. Let's do it again. Then it's this nice little riff up here off the 7th fret to the 9th. So straight away, when you've got back, you've done your E chord, we're going to do this cool little riff, which you can put in at any point of the song when you're on the it works over that E. So what we're doing, we're barring from the D string, we get our first finger, barring from the D, and we're going to bar the D, the G and the B string with our first finger. Then we're going to pick the D and the G strings and hammer down onto the 9th fret of the D. And then straight away, we're going to pick the G and the B strings with this creating the bar. And we're going to do that twice. And on after the last time, we're going to grab the 9th fret of the D and slide off. It's a little bit of a, if you're new to this, it's going to be a bit difficult and weird. Try and hammer this down. Try and, if you look at my fingers, try and get both fingers going down at once. Not like this. Try and do both fingers. It's going to be good practice. If that's a bit ropey, just practice that for a long time. That's a technique which you're going to need all over Hendrix songs. So practice that till it's right. Remember, take a song and break it down into little workable drills, little bits and pieces that you can practice, because they're all good techniques for you. When you add that to the riff, back to the rhythm section. So there you see it worked over when I went to the E. So practice it separately. Straight into that C. pentatonic lick. So when it comes to the chords, we've got C, and we've got G. I'm going to do bar chords like this. And D, A, E for 2 bars. Good way to approach this song is just use major pentatonic runs for each of the chords. So you've got C, first finger on the C root. When we grab that C, that we've got a C bar chord, our first inversion of that, we put the third in the bass here. This part of the chord, that's a C major triad. So the D, G and the B, that's a C, that's your C triad. So that is a fifth on the D, root on the G, and your major third on the B. Now if we take that major third and also put it here, we get that inversion. So a good lick, good riff for the major is start on the C root here, then third finger, naturally just grab that 5th fret of the A, put this first finger down where this was, and play that triad underneath. And then grab the major third on the 7th fret of the A, slide back. And then we're going to go to the G, because remember it goes C, G, D, A. So whatever we do here for C and G, you can just repeat for the D and the A, exactly the same to begin with. Over to the E. A good little lick we can start doing off the G is pretty much the same. Now you can grab this G with your thumb. You want to start playing like Hendrix, or get used to playing these bass strings with your thumb. But you can do it like this for the time being, it's going to be the same. So grabbing the G, sliding up with your third finger to the 7th fret, again, that's your major third. So same as the C here, major third there, 7th fret of the A. But we could do a little bit of a different lick here. We're going to do G, slide into the major third, and then we're going to grab the A string with our first finger, so the D note, hammer on pull off onto the 7th with our ring finger, and then grab the major third again. So we get in total, and then look where our first finger is, it's right in place to get the D. So now we do that for the D and the A. Over to the E for a couple of bars. All together. So that major pentatonic run comes in really handy for playing Hey Joe. When we get to the E for a couple of bars, we can sort of bring in the minor pentatonic. There's our E, 7th fret, A form bar chord for E major, E5. You can grab the open E string just to add in a fatter root. We could do this cool E minor pentatonic riff. Sliding into 7th fret with our 3rd finger. Then grabbing the 5th fret with our 1st finger. Then back to 3rd finger, 7th fret. then we grab the G note, which is the 5th fret of the D string, which is our minor third for E. Give it a bit of a tweak. Then open E. Then to our E major chord. This riff, we can do that off the 12th fret, just over a set of strings. Slide into the 14th fret of the A, then grab the 12th fret on the D, bounce back just like we did over here, and then our minor third is on the 12th fret of the G. Give that a big vibrato or a bend. Cool stuff. So again, that intro. I played it there with my first finger, which you can do either or, whatever works best. You can do it with this little bar with your first finger. Well, then you have to jump over to this E major chord. So it's actually a bit easier if you stick to these two fingers. Missing that note there. Don't forget that one. Can't even play it properly myself. Okay, have fun with that. We'll dig more deeply into it. Just get that intro right, and then use your major pentatonics to find your way around the chord progression. Look into playing them major chords, the E form with the Hendrix grip in another lesson, because that opens up more opportunities for these embellishments. Messed right up there, time to go, see you later.